Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a gray Saturday morning here in the extension on my shop. This room morphs into different things. Unfortunately, most of the time it's just storage, and it's where I do, lately, engine work. It's somewhat clean, separated from the other shop, but it suffers the same fate as my entire operation. This video is going to be a little odd, subject-wise, but I'm not even sure what to call it. But I'm not looking for pity. Just going to talk about real things. Father Time, if you will. There's many ways to do things. A lot of times in manufacturing, there's something called just-in-time, where, say, a vehicle's rolling down the assembly line and the parts it needs are just showing up, timed perfectly, just in time. Therefore, the manufacturer isn't sitting on a large inventory of stuff. And that all works as long as it works. If there's a hiccup, you can see what's going to happen. I don't apply that to my own life because I'm opportunistic, and when I find deals on stuff, sometimes it happens, sometimes I go looking. Okay, every night on Marketplace or whatever, but what happens, if you're like me, eventually you end up mired in stuff. It's not junk. And that's the hardest part. Sometimes when you get it, it's not junk, and over time, from sitting, it becomes junk. Some stuff might have arrived that way. When a part leaves the manufacturer, you hope it's been protected in a way that makes sense. A lot of the last set of lifters I bought for the 496, they were Jegg's house brand, which turned out to be Johnson High Lift, which is an excellent choice, and I'm really glad it worked out that way. Those lifters were individually bagged and coated in a light oil of whatever, protective, whatever it was. It would wipe right off, but it remained, attached to the part inside its own plastic bag. That part should last quite a while on the shelf. I guess we're talking shelf life, like bread. Here's an example. I didn't buy these new, fortunately. They came in a bunch of stuff I bought. They are, and I'll read the package, hydraulic cam saver lifters. Heavy duty race Chevy V8. They're beautiful Crower, which is a really high-end brand. And they sit here in the box. I've never opened them. The tag was still cut until a few minutes ago. I was digging around in my pile of camshafts, which I've collected over the last 8-10 years. And I'm almost afraid, but I need to do it. I need to open each package and make sure, one, I hope when I put it away, I lubricated it and somehow preserved it, because I know what's going to happen. My shop is not climate controlled. I don't have the doors open a lot. The temperature stays pretty steady, but it's, I don't know how to describe the air in here. It stays cool, and it's more like a cave. It's not warm and dry, and it doesn't see a lot of temperature fluctuation, so I'm mixing all the good and bad. I have bare metal benches. They don't rust, but you can have a pot sitting on the bench that will rust. So back to this set of lifters. I was really sad when I just opened it. It had some paper on it. The paper was stained. It had a anti-rust wrap that has rust on it. You can see the lifters. I don't know if you can. There's rust on the top, and they're worse on the bottom. Sad. They weren't coated with anything. They were just stuck in a cardboard box, which I've learned in a situation, a climate like mine. I can't imagine living down south where the temperature fluctuations are more extreme and the humidity is a lot higher. A pot like this didn't stand a chance. These weren't packaged for the long haul. This pot here, you'd be better off buying when you need them. Who knew? So these are junk. I would not, if they had just light, not even a skimmer rust, but something you can always wipe off with your finger, I would go ahead and maybe Scotch-Brite them, because you know these are made before all the flat tappet break-in problems that are occurring right now. If you even dare at this point to have a flat tappet engine, either solid lifter flat tappet or hydraulic lifter flat tappet, non-roller camshafts, the luck isn't on your side. We used to get away, you could buy a set of these in a good quality camshaft. These were machined properly. They'd actually turn in their bore and do everything a cam and lifter interface is supposed to do. We wouldn't do sometimes we wouldn't even break it in. You put a cam in the car and start it up and drive it. Most of the time you would go through the break-in procedure, but you did not have light valve springs or rockers with less ratio, lots of tricks that are now being brought back into popularity. You know, we already had high zinc oil, now you have to buy it special. These lifters are old enough, these would be gold right now if they weren't brown rust. These are going right in the trash. What a shame. Because one, I'm not going to build a flat tappet engine that I'm aware of. And two, I'm not going to start with something that is pitted rust. I didn't have to go very far to find my next problem. This roller camshaft, again, happens to be a Crower. A part number I just looked up, still a good part number. Looked up the specs, it's like 550, 575. Listed as a street roller cam. It's a nice piece. It was packaged in plastic, kind of oily, and it had cardboard for shipping shoved over it. The cardboard itself, cardboard is your enemy. It's always been said on a boat, cardboard is poison. Obviously in my garage it is as well. If it's next to metal, it'll hold moisture. This camshaft is still fine, I can fix it. This is just starting to discolor where the cardboard was. So I can still fix it. This is not ruined, fortunately, because that's a $600 and something camshaft. It's been sitting right here on my bench. It needs to be stored properly. So looks like I'm gonna have to spend a little time and go through all my camshafts and see if there's any more hidden damage. So I'm standing at a fork in the road. Which way do I go with this conversation? One, let's talk about parts storage. I ran a parts room. My last 4 years of employment, I ran a massive parts room all by myself. I was charged with inventorying, barcoding, organizing, and while running the parts room live all day long with technicians at the window and salesmen and parts deliveries coming and going and doing all the paperwork. Yeah, toward the end I did get help. Part-time. That was an excellent boost of time. It was a hard job. Burnout rate was fast. And long story short, here I am working for myself in my own shop. It was nice when I finally, it took a while, but everything was in its place. I had an area for everything. I knew exactly where it was. I dream of that in my own life. That's not attainable. That was a massive industrial building. That is a pie in the sky dream up here. That's not something you're going to achieve at home. If you are, I wish we were friends. Climate controlled somewhat. I didn't have a lot of pots dying on the shelf. Here at home, the problem is, as you can look around here, I want to work in this room and I have stuff stored everywhere. Every flat surface becomes another place to put something because there's no place else to put it at this point. None of this is junk. I don't really want to get rid of a lot of it, although I'm starting to consider selling off some stuff, and if I actually need it, just go buy one that's not deteriorated from sitting around. At least I know it when I'm looking at it, whether I'm willing to put the effort in to fix it again. It's nothing worse than looking at a part that you bought new and you've done nothing with it. Now it's deteriorated. And like we mentioned with the cardboard, leaving it in the box is not necessarily the answer. I thought I had the answer when I bought a storage container. The first one I bought, one trip from China. They're made to be storage units, made to sit on the ground. It's green. I don't know how, it may or may not factor in. I opened the door on it when I got it. It smelled like fresh plywood. People told me they would sweat and mold and everything else because they don't breathe well. I put some raw metal in there, some frame rails and some steel that I was going to save 8 years ago now or more. It's still beautiful raw steel. No issue. So I bought a second one. It was tan. When I opened up the door, my wife could smell tuna in the house. It smelled like fish. But I overcame that. I cleaned it out and scrubbed it and washed it. And I mean, it looked clean, but it still smelled bad. And I put shelving in it. Unfortunately, the shelves, when I bought them, I thought I was getting plastic shelves, but they're more like a pressboard material. That box is proven to be awful. It drips. Everything that's cardboard gets stained. The parts in it get ruined. I moved all my inventory of oil filters and transmission parts and everything outside. I've had to bring it all back in for fear of losing it all to the elements inside the box. They sit 30 feet apart on the ground. One's tan, one's green. They made the same amount of vents, same everything. Why, atmospherically inside, are they so different? The floor grows mold. It's gross. I don't know what to do with it. Makes me not want to buy another one. I'd go buy like a 40-footer and try to put my parts in it. It's a crapshoot. So that's not the answer. I like that they're mouse-proof though, because I don't want to move all my parts outside that are in boxes and it just becomes a home to mice. If I build a wooden garage or even a metal garage, it's probably worse. And I insulate it, and I hate to even think of the thoughts of heating it, but at least insulate it, put shelving up, put parts in it. They're gonna probably get spiders for sure. These are things that don't penetrate the storage box. The storage box, when you latch that door, at least it's sealed from the outside, for better or for worse. If I build a garage like this, you have to fight Mother Nature. So Father Time's fighting against you, Mother Nature's fighting against you. You see what I'm getting at? When I finish this video, while it's uploading, I'm probably going to be shopping for more junk. That's what I do. I save money buying used stuff. I'm not afraid to run used stuff, and that's going to be the other end of this conversation. But what to do with it? I guess it's a good problem to have, but sometimes I question my sanity. You get all this money tied up as well. You don't want it going to waste. You save money buying it. That's why you probably bought it. It's not a savings if it goes to waste. Now for the other fork in the road, and we're going to talk, for sake of argument, engine parts. In the past, you had, let's just say you were living in the 60s and 70s. It wasn't until somewhere in the 70s that the low-cost parts showed up, probably from offshore. Taiwan, maybe to start with, I'm not sure. I was, a teenager in the 70s, had all the magazines, saw the ads. You could see the price difference between your, historically good companies and the other stuff that was probably, affordable. When the price is put right in front of you, first thing, and the price is bigger than the name on the ad on the magazine page, might be a clue. A lot of times the higher end companies don't even put the price. So, you had an invasion of, we'll have to call them foreign parts. Maybe some were made here in America, but I don't know. And that was a long time ago. Now, the world we live in today, some of your name brand companies have been bought out and the product has been cheapened to the point you can't trust it, which is really sad. And engine parts don't have a lot of room, when failure comes in. They're either going to work or they're not. You can still buy good stuff. There's still, people, engine shops building reliable engines that they stand behind with good parts. Your major sanctioning bodies, NASCAR, NHRA, whatever, Their stuff's not blowing up because the parts are junk. They source out and make good stuff, and that helps all of us. The stuff is proven, probably not bargain basement stuff. This company's out now, resellers that they have good products and they have junk. How do you know the difference? And the worst offender is, got to call them by name, eBay especially. Anybody can list and anybody can sell on there. They'll use the actual OEM part number. For instance, they'll put LS lifter trays, the plastic trays that hold your lifters from turning in the bore. They'll sell you some with GM numbers on them, but they're not from General Motors, and they're junk. They will either split, they're not made correctly. When the lifter turns in its bore, all that's preventing that on an LS motor at high RPM or even low RPM is a plastic slide. Well, when that lifter turns sideways, that just cost you a lot of money. And you thought you were buying good stuff. That's a good example. LS lifter trays, you need to go to a source you trust to buy them, that they're actually what they're supposed to be. But everything, engine bearings, everything is copied. Head gaskets. We're back to the LS again. I've seen, name brand head gaskets, Cometics and stuff that cost, over $100 a piece. That same part number will be listed online for $40. If you actually look at the specs, it gives it away. The $40 one with the same part number is a 5-layer, and the other one's probably a 9-layer. If you dig in deep enough, you might detect the fact that it's not what it is, not what it's listed, and not what it's supposed to be, and it's probably going to give you trouble. So, buyer beware. It's a slippery slope today. There's a lot of junk out there. Building an engine is expensive when you buy everything new, and a lot of times that's the way to go. Well, repurposing the block to a point is money well spent. The aftermarket blocks are out there now, both new and used. Again, you got to use your own judgment, but you're better off with an aftermarket block most of the time. Let's face it, these factory blocks, like this 400 block I got right here, it's almost as old as I am, and I'm, getting up there. So I don't mind, and actually, I don't now and never did have a lot of money. I have a lot of junk that I've collected because it's what I do. It's my hobby. It's my bad habit. If you want to follow me around, I don't do much else. So it's not like I have lots of other things in the world that I'm stocked up with. I just like junk. But growing up, always, I will take your old stuff. Fortunately, and only out of necessity, do I know how to take your junk and make something good out of it. That's a skill that has stood by me. But I've always had the thrill. You can spend a lot of money and build a brand new engine, and it's awesome if you chose the right parts. The thrill of having known good used stuff, or at least you hope it's good used stuff, and it's been used and is still good, that's a good clue. If you can take that stuff and build a relatively high horsepower, reliable, cheap, high performance engine, that is so much fun. It really is. I have been fortunate enough to, there was a time that was my only choice. Buying new stuff wasn't going to happen. You name it. Obviously, gaskets and bearings and stuff, yes. But I don't mind using used pistons, used connecting rods, valve train parts. If they've been running, they're still good. That's a judgment call. How do you tell? I just spent $600 for the Johnson high lift lifters I spoke about. I just got these small block lifters given to me. And there's enough to make a whole set with spares. When you lose a lifter, the spare's not going to do you much good. if all that material went down through the engine. But these were expensive lifters new. I believe the Crow was getting the highlight today, and this did not happen on purpose. It just happened. Again, the thrill of building low buck stuff with good parts that you normally couldn't afford is worth the effort. It's worth teaching yourself and taking the chance in yourself and putting it all together and see what happens. Well, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed or got something out of this. Definitely, some days I walk out here and like, what have I done? Other days, I don't see it as a problem. Maybe if the sun came out, I'd look at the world different. Today, hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in a couple days. Take her easy.